Broadcom 3V0-22.25 exam practice questions with explanations are available in the video for you to study. An enterprise security policy requires that administrators must not use local application accounts for daily operations in a VCF operations environment. Which configuration approach satisfies this requirement? A. Configure an external identity source such as Active Directory, synchronize AD groups, and assign roles to those groups. B. Enable the default local admin account and restrict password usage. C. Create identical local users for each administrator. D. Use local authentication combined with password rotation policies. The answer is A. VCF Operations supports integration with external identity providers such as Active Directory or LDAP to centralize authentication. By importing directory-based user groups and assigning roles at the group level, administrators avoid using local accounts for daily access. This approach enforces centralized identity governance, improves auditability, and aligns with enterprise security standards. Local users are intended mainly for break-glass scenarios, not operational access. Group-based RBAC also simplifies lifecycle management when administrators join or leave the organization. Therefore, directory-backed authentication is the correct solution. While reviewing inventory objects for a workload domain in VCF operations, an administrator notices an SDDC manager object listed alongside domain-specific components. Why does this object appear in the workload domain inventory? A. It is deployed directly inside every workload domain. B. It belongs to the management domain but participates in workload domain lifecycle operations. C. It provides monitoring only for NSX components. D. It is temporarily created during inventory synchronization. The answer is B. SDDC Manager is a management domain component responsible for lifecycle and configuration management across all workload domains. Even though it is not deployed inside each workload domain, it maintains control plane responsibility over them. As a result, VCF operations may display it in workload domain views to reflect dependency relationships. This visibility helps administrators understand operational ownership and lifecycle orchestration paths. The object's presence does not indicate misplacement but architectural dependency. Therefore, its appearance is expected and intentional. An organization plans to integrate VCF operations with a modern identity provider using SAML 2.0 rather than traditional LDAP authentication. Which component enables this federation capability? A. vCenter Server Single Sign-On. B. SDDC Manager Authentication Service. CVCF Identity Broker. DVCF Operations Collector. The answer is C. The VCF Identity Broker acts as the authentication intermediary between VCF components and external identity providers. It supports modern authentication standards such as SAML and OIDC, enabling integration with cloud-based identity platforms. This architecture replaces legacy directory-only authentication models. By acting as the service provider, the identity broker centralizes access control across the VCF stack. This design improves security consistency and simplifies identity management. Therefore, it is the required component for SAML-based integration. Which statement best characterizes the core function of VCF operations within a VMware Cloud Foundation deployment? A. It provisions workload domains and deploys SC hosts. B. It manages identity authentication for all VMware components. C. It provides analytics for performance, capacity, cost, and operational health. D. It applies firmware and hardware updates across the infrastructure. The answer is C. VCF Operations is designed as an analytics and operations intelligence platform rather than a lifecycle manager. Its primary role is to collect, analyze, and present telemetry data across compute, storage, and network layers. This includes performance trends, capacity forecasting, cost modeling, and compliance insights. Lifecycle management tasks such as deployment and patching are handled by SDDC Manager. By focusing on operational visibility and optimization, VCF Operations enables proactive infrastructure management. Hence, option C accurately reflects its purpose. A VCF Operations for Logs administrator wants to isolate logs generated only by production systems using a predefined tag. Which filtering method provides the most accurate results? A. Searching for the word production in the log text. B. Sorting logs by source host name. C. Applying a regular expression on message content. D. Filtering based on a structured field representing the environment tag. The answer is D. Structured fields provide precise and reliable filtering compared to free text searches. When logs are tagged with key value pairs such as environment equals production, filters can target this metadata directly. This avoids false positives that may occur when keywords appear in unrelated contexts. Field-based filtering also improves query performance and repeatability. Interactive analytics is optimized for such structured queries. Therefore, using the environment field is the most accurate method. A cloud administrator wants to consume existing Terraform configurations within VCF automation without rewriting the infrastructure code. How does VCF automation support this use case? A. By converting Terraform files into native YAML blueprints. B. By embedding Terraform execution inside vCenter server. C. By executing Terraform plans from a Git repository using a runtime environment. D. By importing Terraform state files directly into VCF operations. The answer is C. VCF automation integrates with Terraform by allowing administrators to reference existing Terraform configurations stored in version-controlled repositories. During deployment, VCF automation executes Terraform plan and apply using a designated runtime, often container-based. This approach preserves existing infrastructure as code investments. It avoids code translation while enabling orchestration through VCF automation workflows. The Terraform binary runs in a controlled execution environment rather than on vCenter. Thus, option C correctly describes the integration model. An organization operates data centers in different regions with significantly different operating costs. How should VCF operations be configured to reflect region-specific infrastructure costs? A. Apply a global average cost across all resources. B. Create separate VCF operations instances per region. C. Configure distinct cost driver profiles scoped to each region. D. Adjust cost values using super metrics. The answer is C. VCF operations allows administrators to define cost drivers that can be scoped to specific objects such as data centers or clusters. By creating separate cost profiles for each region, administrators can accurately model regional cost differences. This approach supports precise chargeback and showback reporting. Global averages would obscure true cost variation and reduce financial accuracy. Super metrics are not designed for cost modeling adjustments. Therefore, scoped cost driver profiles are the correct solution. Compliance regulations require log data retention for multiple years, but local storage capacity is limited. Which VCF operations for logs feature enables long-term retention without expanding local disks? A. Log compression using deduplication. B. Data archiving to external storage. C. Log replication to another cluster. D. Increasing local retention thresholds. The answer is B. Data archiving allows VCF operations for logs to offload older, sealed log data to external storage such as NFS or object storage. This enables long-term retention at lower cost while preserving recent logs on high-performance local disks. Archived logs remain available for compliance and forensic analysis. Simply increasing retention thresholds would exhaust local storage quickly. Replication does not reduce storage consumption. Therefore, data archiving is the correct architectural solution. An automated job powers off idle virtual machines but accidentally impacts critical systems that must remain online. What is the most effective method to prevent specific VMs from being affected? A. Manually exclude VM names each time the job runs. B. Increase the idle threshold globally. C. Place critical VMs into an exclusion group and update job scope. D. Disable the automation feature entirely. The answer is C. VCF operations automation jobs can be scoped using custom groups or tags. By placing critical systems into an exclusion group, administrators can ensure they are never targeted by bulk actions. This method is scalable and repeatable compared to manual exclusions. Increasing idle thresholds may not fully protect important but infrequently used systems. Disabling automation removes its operational benefits entirely. Thus, using exclusion groups is the most effective approach. An engineer wants to determine whether a recurring network error affects a single device or the entire environment. Which interactive analytics technique best reveals the scope of impact? A. Creating a new alert definition. B. Reading individual log entries sequentially. C. Grouping log events by source and visualizing their distribution. D. Filtering logs by a specific IP address. The answer is C. Grouping log events by a source field such as hostname allows administrators to visualize how widespread an issue is. A distribution chart quickly shows whether errors originate from one device or many. This method is far more efficient than manual log inspection. Alerts are useful for notification but not immediate scope analysis. Filtering by a single IP may hide broader patterns. Therefore, grouped visualization is the most effective workflow.